Hello and welcome back to Untapped Confidence. This is episode 70. And in this podcast, we dive deep into how to connect to your authentic confidence. Not the ego, but authentic confidence. The kind of confidence that makes you feel secure in yourself, that makes you feel fulfilled, that makes you happy to be who you are, that quiets a racing mind, that allows you to let go of and move beyond bad habits and addictions and to be more of who you are. My name is Rafaela Marie. I am your host. Over the past 2.5 years, I have helped incredible individuals in healing from a particular type of behavioral addiction called dermatillomania or chronic skin picking. And a big part of that work has been helping them in connecting to their authentic confidence. And those are the results that I consistently get from my clients. And everything that I do with them, I share with you on this podcast. And I'm actually really excited to be back. The past 8 weeks of podcast, I recorded them 2 months ago because I knew I was going to have a hectic couple of months and I wasn't going to have time to really sit down and record. So it's been a while since I've sat down and recorded another episode, and it feels good to be back. I actually really enjoy doing this more consistently. I don't like batching that many episodes because I feel like I kind of get out of flow with things. So anyway, it's good to be back, and I'm really looking forward to diving into this episode with you. If you are an empath, I want to have a really honest, direct, down-to-earth conversation with you. And I've been thinking of this, trying to think of ways of how can I say this in a really gentle, loving way. And then I thought, you know what? We're all adults here. We can handle the truth. And if you're here listening to this podcast, it's because you want the truth. You don't want fluff. So I'm just going to go straight in and say it. Most people who identify as empaths are not experiencing empathy. They're experiencing a trauma response. And before you go ahead and light your pitchforks and come hunt me down, hear me out. And the reason why I want to share this with you is because when we identify as being empaths, this is typically the narrative, the story that we live, which is other people's emotions exhaust me. I feel overwhelmed in social situations because I feel everything. People walk over me. I end up being a doormat. I excuse other people's bad behavior because I am so understanding that I just let it slide because I feel I can put myself in their shoes. And I know that even if they are hurtful, that they don't mean it that way. And I also get that when they are hurtful, I get where they're coming from. This isn't empathy. It's a trauma response. True empathy has boundaries. True empathy does not leave you exhausted. True empathy does not make you want to avoid social situations because you feel too much. True empathy does not allow other people to treat you poorly because you made a mistake or because they're having a rough day. And let me just read the Google definition of empathy so we're all on the same page. Empathy is being aware of and sharing another person's feelings, experiences, and emotions. And understandably, if we don't have any boundaries around this, that's going to be a lot because people have a lot of feelings and emotions and experiences. And if we're taking all that in with no filter, man, of course we're exhausted. Of course we're overwhelmed. Of course we want to make sure that everyone close to us, everyone in the room is in a good mood, because if there is conflict, if people are arguing, if people are upset, that's a lot to handle when you don't have a boundary between you and that person, when you feel responsible for making sure that people feel okay. The reason why we become hypervigilant, the reason why we are so attuned to the room and we notice every little subtle shift, we notice the micro expressions of people, we overthink about what are other people thinking, how are other people feeling. And the reason why, aside from the fact that you're probably just naturally highly sensitive, you also potentially grew up in an environment where you had to be hyper aware of other people's emotions because possibly you had people in your family, potentially one or both of your caregivers, who are not emotionally completely stable or who are not able to handle their own intense emotions. And so you had to be hyper aware of that so that you could take care of their emotions. Tiptoeing around people, walking on eggshells because you don't want to trigger an explosion or an outburst. As a child, we become responsible for that. We feel like we become the peacekeepers, the good girls or boys. We become the ones that don't rock the boat. We try and keep the boat stable while everyone else is just stumbling around. And that is not fair. It's not fair that you had to take on that responsibility at such a young age. It's not fair that you learned that your role is to make sure everyone else is okay at your own expense. It's not fair that you learned that how other people feel is more important than you, and how you feel and what you need and what you desire and what you want. And that's also why we learned to not have boundaries between us and other people. Because we learned that other people's emotions are our responsibility. Other people's problems are our problems. And so for our own peace of mind, we want to make sure that everyone is okay. Because if someone is upset, then it's your problem. If someone is struggling, it's your problem. You need to fix it. You need to help people. You need to keep the peace. You need to care. This isn't true empathy. Because we abandon ourselves. We abandon our own needs. We ignore our own emotions. We keep quiet when we should speak up, just so we don't rock the boat. So we can protect the other person from their own emotions. We cannot have true empathy without boundaries. True empathy is not self-abandonment. And if we are feeling exhausted in social situations because of all the emotions and things flying around, if we are excusing other people's bad behavior because, yeah, we made a mistake, or yeah, they're having a rough day, or yeah, I get where they're coming from, that is not true empathy. That is self-abandonment. And you deserve better. How you feel matters too. You are an equal, even if you make a mistake. That does not mean that you deserve to be treated poorly. That does not mean that you deserve to be yelled at, or to be pushed away, or to be shunned, or to be put down, or to be blocked out, or to be looked at in a really judgmental way. You are still an equal. And I know I feel this because I've lived this myself, that for a lot of us who are deeply empathetic, but in a way that is self-abandonment, we do feel like we make excuses for a lot of things. We put up with shit for a really long time because we are constantly excusing the bad behavior of other people, because we feel like, well, it makes sense. It's understandable. I get it. I did do that. That would have been annoying. I did make that mistake, so it makes sense. It only makes sense from a place of trauma. I actually want to bring in another component, because when we talk about empathy in this context, we're also talking about compassion. We're also talking about the fact that I feel so much for other people. I care so much. I have so much compassion for the pain of others. And that's really beautiful. And the thing is, I'm not saying with all this that you don't actually care and you're not actually compassionate towards anyone. It's all a trauma response. That's not what I'm saying. You do care. You are compassionate. You are empathetic towards other people's pain. You have developed a skill to be truly hyper aware of other people's emotions and their emotional state and potentially what they need. But the thing is, we can't give true empathy and compassion to another person if we can't give that to ourselves. If we are showing empathy and compassion, but we are abandoning ourselves in the process, that is not true. It's not genuine. We're doing it out of fear because we're afraid that if we don't soothe that person, if we don't understand, if we aren't kind, then they're going to get angry at us. We're going to be the bad person. We're going to be rejected. We're going to not be good enough. So if we are not speaking our mind, if we are hiding our truth, if we are hiding our feelings, if we are dismissing our feelings, then that's not true empathy and compassion. That's self-abandonment. And it's done out of fear. And the reason why we do it is so that we can be sure, because our safety, our security in ourselves depends on another person's stable emotional state. And the really cool thing is is that the fact that you are so sensitive to the room and you notice the little subtle signs in other people, that is a superpower. When combined with having strong boundaries, being able to give yourself your own self-compassion and empathy and love and understanding, in combination with that, the way that you will be able to show up in your own life and in relationships and at work and everything, you become so powerful. You become magnetic because people love to be understood. You become a person that feels really safe to be around. And also, you won't attract toxic people into your life. And if someone toxic does come your way, you will immediately know where to set a boundary. You'll feel it, and your life won't be full of drama. There will be more peace. There will be more depth and beautiful, loving, reciprocal relationships. So how can we know when we're being truly empathetic and compassionate and when we are self-abandoning? You can ask yourself this question. What am I afraid of happening if I don't do this thing or if I do this thing? So if you're feeling compelled to say something or not say something, or to do something or not do something, ask yourself, what am I afraid of happening if I don't? Or if I do? Because the thing with self-abandonment is it's fueled by fear. So if we are being empathetic and we are self-abandoning in the process, and to protect ourselves from this knowledge, we call it empathy. We tell ourselves, I'm just too empathetic. And this label keeps us stuck because then, it is who I am. I am empathetic and I cannot change that because it's a part of me. When in reality, what I am doing right now, it's not empathy, it's self-abandonment. What I'm doing right now is not compassion. I'm dismissing myself in order to feel safe. So you can ask yourself that question in a moment when you're unsure of what should I do here, what should I say? Because the thing is, it's going to be really uncomfortable to go against this pattern. And there's going to be a lot of uncertainty and confusion of thinking, I don't know if I should say something right now. Should I say something? Will that be really unkind? Is it the right thing? Am I just lashing out if I say something? Or is it the truth? Or should I just let it go and walk away? Ask yourself, what am I afraid of happening if I do or I don't do this thing? And then also, we really need to just build our awareness. Because the feeling that comes up around, essentially what we're calling it is people pleasing. That's actually what it is in a nutshell. It's not empathy, it's people pleasing. And we want to get really familiar with how that part of us feels when it shows up. Because people pleasing is a part of you, and it's like a sub-personality. It has a space. The feeling of people pleasing will always be the same. It has a place in your body that it shows up. It might be a twisting in the stomach or pressure in the chest or a sinking feeling. And then from that feeling, you're going to have the urge to people please. And that might be through dismissing how you feel and excusing that person. It might be through convincing yourself that you shouldn't say anything, or it might be through convincing yourself that you need to say something to try and save that person or make everything okay. So get familiar with how that shows up in your body. And then get curious of what situations trigger this in me. What people trigger this part of me to come up? Where do I feel like I need to people please? Where do I feel the urge to self-abandon in order to make this person like me or to make this person feel okay or to protect this person from their own emotions and actions and the consequences of their actions? Because there are patterns. It's all a pattern. It's conditioning. We are just constantly repeating the same pattern. If you feel really lost, before you even try to change it, just get familiar with where it shows up and how it feels. We can't change anything we're not aware of. And the more awareness we have, the more understanding we have, the more capacity we have to change something. And I want to throw this in here because it just came to my mind. When someone's behavior is hurtful, or they've said something hurtful, or they've done something hurtful, and we don't say anything, we don't call them out, we're not direct, we don't communicate that, hey, that was actually really hurtful and I didn't like that. That crossed a line with me, that crossed a boundary. Firstly, we are taking on the responsibility of their emotions. They are essentially just projecting their emotions onto you. You're taking them in, and you are then having to not only process your own emotions, but also theirs. They are offloading their emotional regulation responsibilities onto you. So firstly, that's not fair. That's not your responsibility. Unless this is your child, then yes, it is your responsibility to help your child regulate their emotions. Children do project because they literally don't know how. They don't have the brain capacity to regulate their emotions. But we are currently talking about adults right now. It is not your responsibility to regulate their dysregulation. And of course, it's not just black and white. Yes, we can use the people closest to us. In a healthy relationship, we do lean on each other's nervous systems to help us to regulate. But if someone is severely dysregulated and they are projecting onto you, that is an opportunity to set a boundary. In a really loving way, of course, but stern and direct. Quick pause here. If you struggle with chronic skin picking and you deeply desire to live a life beyond this struggle, if you deeply desire to feel secure and confident in yourself, and if you know by now that there is deeper work that is required to heal from this, not just surface level solutions, not just habit reversal or trying to replace the behavior, because most of us have figured out by now that that doesn't work, then I want to invite you to join us in Strength. It is a program that I have specifically designed to help you in your holistic and science-based journey to healing from chronic skin picking. I struggle with chronic skin picking for 15 years. I've been helping people like you to heal just as I did for the past 2.5 years. And the consistent results that my client gets are a reduction in the length and severity of picking sessions and the frequency. And that's not even the best part. The best part is they begin to feel more secure in themselves. They take more risks and they live their life more fully. They feel happier in themselves. They feel more at home in themselves. Not only because they're finding more of who they are, but because they are surrounded by and connected to an amazing and incredibly supportive community. I really cannot stress to you enough how incredible this program is. And if you are ready to transform yourself and your life and to heal from chronic skin picking and become the most authentically confident version of yourself, then click on the link in the show notes, check it out, and you can apply to join us there as well. All right, let's get back to the episode. Now, what I wanted to say is that when this happens, when you take on that emotional dysregulation from that person, when you take on that responsibility, not only are you overwhelming yourself, but you are robbing that person of the opportunity to see themselves with more clarity, to grow as a person. If you hide your truth, you are protecting them and stunting the potential for their growth. Because of course, if we share our truth with someone, maybe they're not going to take it too well and they're not going to accept it. And that's okay. That's up to them how they want to handle their relationships and if they are interested in growing and changing as a person. That's not up to us to decide. But we don't give them an opportunity to make that choice if we hide our truth from them. We are actively holding them back because we are trying to protect them from their own pain because we feel responsible for their pain and therefore we feel like we can't handle it. We don't want to have to deal with that. So I'd rather just absorb this and keep quiet. So a real kindness for yourself and for the other person is to be honest and allow them the space to sit in the discomfort of that honesty, of the mirror that you are holding up to them. And I know you and I, we've been in situations where someone has given us feedback, has held up a mirror to us, and yeah, it's been really uncomfortable, it's been painful, maybe we've resisted, but in the end, I know I have been deeply, deeply grateful for that. Maybe not essentially always in the moment, but definitely afterwards in the person that I was able to become through being able to see that version of myself. And that's the thing with healing is we can't do it on our own. We need other people to mirror us, reflect us, call us out, help us to reflect and see ourselves more clearly, to become a more empowered, confident, fuller version of ourselves. And there are people who are very receptive to that, and there are people who are not. And that's really not up to us to decide who is receptive and who isn't. Where are someone's limits and where are another person's limits? We can only decide our own limits. When we ask ourselves a question, what am I afraid of happening? And if speaking your truth in a situation, you're afraid that they might lash out, they might not agree with you, that you might feel not heard or understood or misunderstood, or you'll feel rejected. That right there is an indication that that is exactly what you need to do. To honor yourself, to show yourself compassion, to show yourself empathy, to live with authenticity and integrity. It is to do that thing. Probably literally the thing that you don't want to do, it's the thing that we need to do. To become a person that is deeply empathetic, deeply compassionate, we must be able to speak our truth and speak it honestly and speak it clearly. We need to remind ourselves in moments when we make a mistake and someone's upset that, hey, I'm still an equal here. And regardless, I can own my mistake and I will apologize for my mistake and I will accept the consequences, but the consequences do not include being put down, being shut out, being berated, being punished. That's not a consequence of a mistake. A consequence of a mistake are the natural events that follow. We don't need to add anything extra on top of that. It's noticing when I make a mistake, I own it. And I also don't allow people to belittle me because of it. It's noticing, yeah, this person that I really care about is having a hard time, but how they are treating me, how they are speaking to me is disrespectful and not okay. And I can be loving and compassionate and set the boundary of this is not. It's recognizing in an argument that yes, how the other person feels is absolutely valid and it's important and we want to take it seriously, but how you feel is also important and should be taken seriously. And honestly, it's equally important. I know in arguments, I used to go into, if I was upset by something, I would go into a discussion, an argument, a conflict, feeling justified because of how I felt. But then if the other person then got upset and started bringing in their emotions, I would immediately dismiss mine. I would start to second guess. I would doubt myself and think, oh, they're right, that's true. Oh, man, they are upset. And it seems like their upset is bigger than my upset, so it's more important. It's not. Both matter. Both need a voice. Both want to be heard. Both want to be understood. So notice, where are you staying small? Where are you staying quiet? Where are you dismissing yourself? Where are you shrinking and accepting that that is okay? And just give yourself small opportunities to do the opposite. And the opposite is going to be the last thing that you want to do. And there's no way around that. You can meditate every day, hours a day. You can do somatics. You can get therapy and coaching. But the only way to truly change how you feel around these situations, to truly change how you see yourself and how you treat yourself, is to do the thing that you don't want to do. And in doing that, I speak from personal experience, my self-esteem has gone up immensely. My confidence has skyrocketed. I feel so secure in myself. Conflict doesn't make me spiral anymore. I have a greater capacity to hold space for another person's emotions because I know that I can hold a boundary. I can take space if I need to. I also know in conflict that how I feel is important, even if I recognize that I've made mistakes. There isn't this black and white thinking anymore. My friendships have deepened because I have a capacity to handle a difference of opinion. I can have someone disagree with me or call me out, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't mean it doesn't make me uncomfortable sometimes. It totally does. But because I don't feel the need to people please my friends and make sure everyone feels okay, I'm able to deepen my relationships further because it allows other people to be more authentic, more themselves as well. The more authentic we become, the more true to ourselves that we become, the more we allow other people to do the same in our presence. It doesn't mean every person is going to do that, but it invites people in to be who they are around you, which is really beautiful. It's such an amazing thing to give people. And also, just to throw that in there, if you're listening to this and you struggle with chronic skin picking, or if you're listening to this and you have some bad habits, or you have some behavioral addictions, or you have addictions, a big thing that triggers those things, because all those things they're avoidance, they're an escape from feeling the discomfort or the dysregulation that shows up in our body. And When we develop this level of security on ourselves because we are being honest, we are speaking out, we're having strong boundaries, we're not being an empath through self-abandonment, we are an empath with strong boundaries and limits and self-respect. It's going to help you to outgrow those bad habits and those addictions. It's going to help you to let go of them, because the more secure we become in ourselves, the more confident we become, the less we need to escape from our own reality, the less we need to escape from our bodies and ourselves. Because being in your own body, being who you are, feels good. It's a good experience. And for most of my life, being who I am and being in my body was not a good experience. I didn't enjoy being who I am. And a big part of changing that has been acknowledging, yes, I'm very empathetic, like you. I'm hyper aware of other people's emotions and feelings and things going on in the room. But I no longer feel responsible. And I'm able to draw the line. And I'm able to just let people be with their shit. And I don't feel the need to fix or save. And I know when I can help someone and when I should just let it go and step back. I know when I can say something or I should say something, or when I could just let it go and move on. And that gives us such a huge sense of security on ourselves. It brings us so much peace. I am way less in my head. And just the other day, I was walking along a lake, which is near where I live. And it's a very small moment, but it was significant to me. And it's gorgeous summer day, blue sky with fluffy clouds, sparkling along the lake, and greenery and a mountain in the distance. I mean, it was just such a beautiful moment. And in the past, I used to feel a sense of anxiety in these moments. I would enjoy them, but I'd also feel maybe a bit sad or a bit anxious, thinking, oh man, I don't want to miss out on this. I want to be really in the moment and I want to enjoy this. And I would try to cling on to those moments. And it honestly made it harder for me to enjoy those moments. It doesn't mean that I didn't, but there was kind of this underlying pressure. And yesterday, I was walking along. It was absolutely beautiful. I was enjoying myself. I felt good in myself. And the thought came to my head of, I'm going to get to have so many days like this. And I felt so happy. I felt so good in myself. I felt so blessed, so grateful that there are so many more days like this in my future. So many more moments of blue sky with fluffy clouds and just this contented, warm, wholesome feeling. And I wasn't afraid for it to go, because I knew there were going to be so many more to come. And being able to be that grateful and that in the moment, and to feel that good in myself and in my body, that has come from being more true to myself. Being able to use my voice and speak up and protect my space with strong boundaries that are made out of love for myself and other people. Through doing those things, I've been able to develop deeper connections with people, more wholesome connections with people. Everything in my life has more depth than it ever did, because I have more depth with myself. The relationship I used to have with myself was so surface level for most of my life, because of my experiences, because of my conditioning, and I don't blame myself for that. But I don't feel the need to escape from myself like I used to. I still have moments when I want to just switch off and check out. When I feel overwhelmed. Overwhelm is normal, it's going to happen. But my baseline is one that I enjoy. It's one that I feel safe in, it's one that I feel secure in, it's one that I'm happy in, it's one that I'm grateful for, it's one that I love. And I didn't have any of that for a long time. So recognizing that, yes, you are deeply empathetic, but also recognizing how much of that comes at the cost of self-abandonment. Working through that is going to give you so much. So much. I can't express to you enough how much it's going to give you. It's not the one and only thing. It's not the solution to everything, but it's a very, very important aspect. And if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about in this episode, please do send me an email or comment on this episode if you're on Spotify, or you can leave a written if you're on iTunes or any other platform. And also, if you appreciated this episode, if you enjoyed it, please do leave a 5-star review. I really appreciate it. It supports this podcast and what I'm doing. It pushes it out to more people, which of course is amazing and I appreciate so much. So thank you so much for being here and listening. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself as usual. And have an amazing rest of your week wherever you are. And I will see you next Tuesday for the next episode of Untapped Confidence.